Ever get that feeling? Like someone's watching you. Not just a quick thing, but that like creepy feeling someone's observing you. Maybe even like controlling you.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're headed today. Full on into 1984, George Orwell's, well, masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
We're going deep into some important parts of the book.
Absolutely.
Really going to try to understand what makes this dystopia tick.
Yeah.
And believe me, you don't need to be like a literary expert to get why this story still matters. Big time.
What always gets me about 1984 is how Orwell creates this whole society, Oceania, where control isn't just about brute force, right?
Great.
It gets inside your head, man.
It's about controlling how you think.
Exactly.
And yeah, Big Brother's always watching you, literally everywhere you look in Airstrip 1.
It really sets the scene.
But it's more than that. Think about it. Telescreens. Everywhere.
In your home.
Broadcasting propaganda, but also recording every single thing you do.
And don't forget the kids.
Oh, God, the kids.
Junior spies.
Oof.
Encouraged to rat out anyone who steps out of line.
Even their own families.
Especially their families. Think about what that does to a kid growing up.
You can't trust anyone.
You can't. Suspicion is rewarded, yeah.
It's like your own thoughts become the enemy.
It's true. You're afraid to even think something that could be seen as disloyal. You know what I mean?
So you start censoring yourself.
Self-censorship, exactly. The party's ultimate victory.
It's terrifying.
Because when you control your own thoughts, that's when they've really got you, you know?
They don't even need to. And nowhere is this manipulation clearer than in the Ministry of Truth, where Winston, our main guy,
right,
spends every day rewriting history. Which I gotta say,
yeah,
this part always freaks me out.
right.
I mean, making up stories is one thing, but to be able to just erase the past like it never happened, make people doubt their own memories.
It's chilling.
Chilling.
Orwell gives us that great example with the chocolate rations, you remember?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're always, like, adjusting the figures.
Yeah.
Even when they cut the rations, the party's like, nope, increase. Makes you wonder if they even know what's real anymore.
Like I said, they're gaslighting a whole society.
Yeah.
And that's where that whole doublethink thing comes in.
Oh, man. Doublethink. It's scary, isn't it? Have you ever felt that? Like you know something is true, but someone in charge is telling you the opposite, and you start to believe them.
Yeah.
That's doublethink.
It's like you're holding two completely opposite beliefs in your head at the same time.
Yeah.
And somehow you make yourself believe both.
And that's how they get you, you know? 2 + 2 = 5, because the party says so.
It's mind-bending.
It really is. Makes you wonder if Winston's going crazy, or if we are.
Right. It's like they figured out how to control reality itself.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, they control the present and the future.
Absolutely.
Makes you think, right?
Yeah.
About all the little ways we might be, I don't know, influenced by all the propaganda and misinformation flying around today.
Oh, for sure. It's everywhere, man. Everywhere you look.
You know, for all the darkness, all the control in Oceania, there's this, like, spark of hope in 1984. This little flicker of resistance that comes from something deeply human.
I see where you're going with this. Connection.
Bingo.
Winston and Julia.
Exactly. It's more than just physical, though, you know, that's definitely part of it.
At first.
But it's more the sharing, the vulnerability, right? The trust that grows between them.
In a world where you can't trust anyone.
Right. They carve out this little space just for them.
Fragile.
Oh, so fragile. Where they can actually be themselves, even for a little bit.
And that's huge in Oceania. That need for something real, for a genuine connection, amidst all the fakery. It's what leads Winston to the Brotherhood, isn't it?
Yeah. That whispers in the dark.
Right.
This idea that maybe, just maybe, the party doesn't have total control.
Dangerous thinking right there.
Oh, totally. And then Winston meets O'Brien.
Ah, O'Brien.
Yeah.
Big player in the party.
Exactly. And suddenly there's this possibility, this person who might get it, who might want something different.
And you're right on the edge of your seat.
Orwell's a master, man.
The best.
He leaves you hanging. Is O'Brien for real? Or is this like a setup?
Because it could go either way.
You can feel the desperation in Winston, you know, clinging to that tiny bit of hope.
And that's what makes it so intense. That push and pull between hope and paranoia. You're asking yourself the same questions as Winston.
Totally. How much are you willing to risk?
Well,
Where's that line between fighting and just, I don't know, staying safe?
when even trusting the wrong person could destroy you.
Ugh, I know. And it's something we're dealing with all the time now, right?
All the time.
Online, I mean.
Echo chambers everywhere.
It's like, who do you trust? What do you believe? You're drowning in information.
And it's hard to tell what's real anymore.
Exactly. You end up questioning everything.
Or nothing.
Yeah. And for Winston, that questioning leads him down a very dark path.
The Ministry of Love.
Ugh, that name. So messed up.
The place where they take your worst fear
Room 101.
and turn it into your reality.
Just thinking about it gives me chills. It makes you wonder, what would they use against you?
What would break you?
Right. What would make you betray everything you believe in?
And that's where Winston's story takes that turn.
The heartbreak.
He breaks, betrays Julia, gives up everything.
Man, that just destroys me every time. To see him after all that fight just broken.
But the party doesn't stop there.
Of course not.
They use that brokenness to make him believe their truth, even if it means denying his own memories.
His own humanity.
Yeah.
It's like they don't just want obedience. They want, like, total control of his mind.
To the point where he loves Big Brother.
I gotta say, for a book written, what, like 70 years ago?
Yeah.
1984 just gets to you, you know?
It gets under your skin. Big time.
It's like more than just a story. It's a warning
Huh.
about us, about how easily we can be controlled.
And it's not just the Big Brother stuff, the telescreens, although that's creepy enough. It's the whole system that Orwell creates, you know? It's like he thought of everything.
Yeah, and one of the things that always gets me is that whole newspeak thing.
Hmm.
Like controlling language to control thought. Kind of brilliant in a messed up way.
Totally. We talked about doublethink, but this is even deeper than that. Getting rid of words like freedom, rebellion. It's like trying to make those ideas impossible to even think about.
Exactly. If you don't have the word for it, can you even imagine it? It's scary, man.
It's linguistic engineering, weaponized.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes you wonder about the ways we get manipulated today. Maybe not as obvious as telescreens and thought police, but...
Oh, it's happening. Every day.
Right. Like all the information overload, the algorithms deciding what we see online. It's like, are we really thinking for ourselves? Or are we just reacting to whatever's put in front of us?
It's that self-imposed doublethink we were talking about. You end up in these echo chambers just hearing what you want to hear. And that's dangerous.
It's like we're choosing ignorance, choosing to be passive.
Exactly. And that's the opposite of what Winston was fighting for.
That's the thing about 1984. It makes you think, what would I do? Could I be like Winston? Would I have the guts to resist? Or would I just crack?
It makes you appreciate the small acts of rebellion, you know. The stolen moments with Julia. That little diary where he pours out his soul. Those were victories in their own way.
Because even if you get crushed in the end, at least you went down fighting for what you believed in.
Right.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message. To keep fighting even when it seems hopeless.
So we've gone deep into the world of 1984 today, a world of surveillance, of manipulation, of thought control. It's a dark world, for sure. But if there's one thing I take away from it, it's this. We all have a choice. We can be sheep, just following the herd, or we can be like Winston.
Questioning. Thinking for ourselves.
Fighting for what we believe in, even if it's just in the small, quiet ways. That's what really matters. That's how we keep the flame of freedom alive.
And that's how we make sure that 1984 stays fiction.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But keep those gears turning, keep asking those tough questions, and we'll see you next time.